Hello everybody, welcome back to the Design Make Play Show. My name is Omar, I am your co-host, and today we have a very special interview from a friend of mine, Selin Gul. Selin is an entrepreneur, a digital marketer, and the Vice President of Corporate Relations for Enactus at Capilano University. So I'm going to let her introduce herself and we're going to jump right into it. Here we go. All right, Celine. So I gave everybody a little introduction about you, who you are, and what you do. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about yourself?
Perfect. So thank you so much for having me. So my name is Selin, and I am a third-year business student at Capilano University. I am focusing on marketing. Currently, I'm very involved in Enactus, which is a nonprofit organization that we will get into. And outside of school, I'm heavily involved in real estate in West Vancouver and North Vancouver with my dad, and I also do digital marketing.
Awesome. So, like you just said, you're heavily involved in Enactus at Capilano University, correct?
Yes.
Awesome. So, can you tell us a little bit about the organization and your role within it, as well as the initiatives that you and your team take?
Right. Okay. So Enactus is a global nonprofit organization, and it exists in over 37 countries and involves over 72,000 students. So it is a student-led team. We have faculty advisors, but the projects are run by students. Basically, our purpose is to identify challenges in our communities and apply innovative solutions to these. They're usually aligned with the 17 UN Sustainable Development Goals. So currently I am the Vice President of Corporate Relations. So I just take care of our relationships with corporations. In regards to initiatives, currently we have two projects going. We have our Square One project, which is basically just bringing in financial literacy education into high schools. We see a lack of that in high schools on the North Shore and in the Greater Vancouver area. And then our new project that we just launched recently is called You Belong, and it's basically trying to bring a sense of belonging to our university campus. At Capilano University, we also see that we lack a level of community almost. Capilano is a commute school, so students are coming in for their classes and they're leaving after their classes. So sometimes it's hard to make friends if you're not in clubs or if you're not as social in your classes. So we're basically working on a new project to help students just feel more, a better sense of belonging on campus.
Awesome. So, first, I'll start with that financial literacy project you guys are doing. You mentioned that it's something that is kind of lacking across schools in the North Shore, West Vancouver, but I personally believe it's something lacking nationwide. So, how much about that can you tell us? Like, what are some of the things you're trying to implement?
So I believe I'm glitching.
It's all good. Go on.
Can you hear me? Okay. So basically, we have our project representatives, and they go into schools and they do workshops. So we have 5 interactive workshops. It's banking smart, budgeting, savings and taxes, basic credit, and career development skills. So we're in high schools. We're trying to get into BC curriculum. We're going to see how that goes. It's something we're working on. So we just have these workshops. We do them interactively. So they're asking questions throughout the class, the workshop, and then it's very highly engaged. Right now, we're facing the struggle, of course, with COVID, where a lot of people are not in school, and even if they are, they can't have guests in, right? So before we had our 2 university students going into classrooms and presenting, but now the schools won't allow guests to come in. So we're working on delivering it through an online platform.
That's interesting. It's kind of like what we had to do. We actually used to do a lot of after-school programs along in West Vancouver and the North Shore, but because of that, obvious safety concerns, we couldn't do it anymore. So then we started producing content, trying to get our content out to students and stuff. So what about the You Belong initiative? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Oh yeah, so You Belong, basically it's you as in you and university and belong. So it's basically just giving people that sense of belonging at university. Recently, we just held workshops. We have another workshop tomorrow where we've had panelists, student panelists, alumni, guest speakers, just talking about anything. We had a mental health segment. We had a how to stay motivated on campus segment. Tomorrow we have is tomorrow Thursday? I think tomorrow's Thursday. So tomorrow we have a segment on leveraging campus resources. So CapU offers a lot of resources that a lot of students don't even know exist because they're not introduced to it. So basically we're saying there's a writing center, there's a math center, there are counselors, there's a nurse, there's the dental hygienist, everything on campus exists. So we're teaching them that this exists, and then also how useful it is. Math center, writing center, it's actually, it's crazy how many people don't use it. Like there are math professors in the library for like 6 hours a day, and it's actually really interesting how it's not full of students all the time. So that's just pretty much what we're doing with that.
Do you ever use those math resources or writing resources?
I did when I was doing math. I don't do math anymore. So I'm done with my math courses, but when I was doing math courses, I was in the math center every single day.
Yeah, I spent a lot of time there as a student as well. It's good that you're kind of bringing light to those resources, because like what good are they if people don't know they're there, right?
Exactly.
All right, so moving on. Last April, I believe you and Capilano University's Enactus team, they placed third in a case competition in Calgary. Am I correct?
Yes, so we were awarded the opening round runner-up, which is third place, and that was for our project Square One. So our presentation team flew out to Calgary at the end of February of last year. It was an insane experience. That was my first experience on Capilano University's Enactus team's presentation team. Me and another student, Selina, presented the Square One project in one category, and then Ryan Fonseca and Emma presented Square One in another category. So we received funding through our competition, and it was really just an insane experience that I'm very thankful for. It was 5 minutes presentation. You got no script. There's a video running behind you. The video behind you has words popping up on the screen. If you're like 2 seconds off, that entire presentation is just like off. So that was like 3 months of prep. I could probably recite that script until the day I die because it is ingrained in my head, but a great, great experience.
I remember watching that presentation. You guys did a good job, so no need to worry about that. So what was the
Thank
nature?
you.
What was the nature of your team's project, and what was the entire experience like? I know you mentioned that it was rewarding, but anything else that you can add to that?
For me, I don't want to be like, it was a life-changing experience, but like never in my life have I given a presentation like that. I do like speaking. I've always been confident in public speaking. I'm glitching out. Am I good?
Hold on. Are you back? Yeah, you're back.
I think
Go
I'm
on.
back.
Go on.
Okay. So what I was saying was, I've always been confident in public speaking. Giving presentations has never been something I've worried about, and I actually do enjoy it. But never have I done something with absolutely no, like I have done it without a script, but I mean, I knew exactly what I had to say before I went in, and I didn't have a script with me. Like I've done freestyle conversation, just kind of going with the flow, like kind of what we're doing right now, or I've done script. However, my script, I also have my cue cards. So going into that, every single word had to be at the exact moment. I have never done that before, and now I feel like I've acquired a new skill, and it's something I'm very thankful for, and I'm way more confident now. And another thing, aside from all like the professional things, I have built such strong relationships with every single person that was on that trip. We were in Calgary for 3 or 4 days. We were all in an Airbnb, shared rooms, shared kitchen, shared everything. That was an insane experience. Growing up, I swam a lot, so I did swim meets where we were in the hotel rooms, but it was different than that because in those hotel rooms, like we were all younger, like it was high school age, so like it was 13 to 17, and it's a team that I've known for years. Except when we were in Calgary, we're all adults, and I've known this team for less than a year now. So that was an insane experience. The relationships that I formed with my friends are everlasting, and they've grown so much. Like going into it, I knew people's first and last names, and now I feel like I know everything about them. So yes.
I remember seeing all the fun you guys had, and I had a little bit of FOMO in regards to not joining Enactus, but
It was fun. It was like, we got back from Calgary, and then like a week later was when like quarantine and the shutdown was announced. So, oh my God, I am so thankful that we actually made it there and got back safely. While we were there, there was the corona concern. Like, you know, I wore a mask on the plane. I was sanitizing all the time, but we still went out to restaurants, and our groups of 20 people, we went to the casino afterwards, you know, we did everything, and then we came back, and it was like, you can't do anything anymore. So I'm very thankful for that trip, and that was probably my highlight of 2020, if we're being completely honest.
so far, we still have a few more months.
Yeah, that's true.
If I recall correctly, you were really adamant in regards to taking every possible precaution um, in regards to like the whole outbreak, staying safe and whatnot. You actually went as far as starting a petition to discontinue face-to-face classes because you were so concerned. So from March, April till now, what would you say, what are your views on the situation right now? And how have they changed compared to the initial outbreak back in March?
Okay. So yes, I did start a petition, and I sent it to every single person I know at the university, and they sent it to everyone. I had professors signing it.
I signed it.
Exactly. Thank you. Because that was in March. This was when this COVID-19 outbreak had just reached North America. We knew absolutely nothing about it. One of the first hubs of COVID was the Lynn Valley Care Center, which is located like 5 minutes away from our school. Now, today, what day is it today? September 30th. Anywhere you go, that there is risk of like COVID exposure. You know what I mean? It is everywhere now. But back then, we didn't know what was going on. And being at school just felt so unsafe to me. And I was worried about the health of my family and my boyfriend's family having two diabetics. I was nervous, and I was emailing my professors, and I was like, hi, like, can I please write my midterm in a separate room? This was during midterm season. I don't want to be in a room with 30 people, no masks, nothing, when this outbreak starts, writing my midterm. And then a lot of teachers were not listening to me. I got docked attendance marks for not going to class. That was interesting. So that's when I was kind of like, okay, if they're not going to listen to me, I'm going to have to show them that this is actually really important and that students are concerned. I remember sitting in the library, I can't focus. Every 5 seconds, someone's coughing. And I'm like, looking back at it, no one had COVID at the school that we know of, but it was scary. So that's why the petition started. Now, it's been 6, 7 months, 8 months. I don't know what's happened to time anymore. Now we're at a point where we know what this virus does. We know exactly how this virus transmits. We know exactly what the symptoms are. We have less hospitalizations. One too many, like any case in the hospital is too many, but we have less hospitalizations. We see that wearing masks help prevent the spread. We see that sanitizing your hands help prevent the spread. We see that social distancing helps prevent the spread. We didn't know this in March. In March, we did not know this. That's why I thought it was very unsafe to be in person. Now, universities online. However, high schools, elementary schools are back in person. They've been back for a month. There has been COVID exposures at these schools. There's been plenty of them. However, there hasn't been an outbreak. A child has not contracted COVID from school and spread to other classmates. They've contracted COVID in the community and then been at school. And that's where these exposures are coming from. But no schools, to my knowledge, on September 30th at 5:37 p.m. have closed in BC due to COVID because we're all wearing masks. They're social distancing in classes. Most schools have like block times where you're in the same group all day. So they have had a safe return. So personally now, if Capilano University was to announce a return to in-person classes, I would feel safe because now I know that the ministry can give us a safe return to education, because we will be wearing masks. We will only have one person sitting per desk. This cafeteria buffet option will no longer exist. You will have to order your food. You will get your food. Everyone is way, way safer now. So I would feel safe going back to school now, because we are able to implement these safety measures that we're not able to implement in March, if that answers your question.
No, it does. That's the whole back to school thing is something we pay a lot of attention to because, like I said, we used to do a lot of after school programs, summer camps, and much like millions of people across the planet, we had to make the shift to online and virtual mechanisms of communicating what we have to offer.
Right.
So, yeah, it's something that we're all working through, and there's no point being negative about it, right? Just work through it, right?
Exactly. It is a learning experience and a half. So
hmm
that is that.
Definitely. So moving on, I believe CAPU's Enactus chapter was poised to compete in Toronto based on the success that they realized in Calgary. So how did you and your team deal with the disappointment of maybe not being able to go to Toronto, but at the same time, what was it like? How did you and your team stay positive throughout that and make the best of it, regardless of like the uncertain climate?
Right. So yeah, so we were going to go to Toronto second week of May, third week of May, sometime in May. And I remember the day we got the email from Enactus Canada being like, hello, nationals will not be in Toronto. That was hard. Looking back at it now, it was maybe not the saddest thing, because we have faced a lot worse as like a globe. There's been a lot worse things that have happened because of COVID than a championship being canceled. But at the time, it was hard because, you've worked so hard. You're looking so forward to this trip with your friends. It was right after school ends, like after finals. You're in Toronto for a week with like your best friends, competing with a project you have worked so hard on. And then all of a sudden it was like, wait, that's not happening. What do you mean? So we had to pivot, and I'm very thankful for this because I've learned so much. Nationals became online. We did online nationals, and we submitted our project. We filmed videos. We got all of our stats. We did everything that we would have done if we would be in person in Toronto. However, we just put it into an online version, filmed our presentations, and submitted that. Overall, as a team, I know we were all disappointed because, you'd be lying to yourself if you said, oh, like, I don't care, because it's hard. It's hard when you have something you're looking forward to suddenly be taken away from you. But I think mainly what we focused on, I remember we had like our daily group meetings at this point leading up to the online nationals, and something everyone kept saying was, look, we're not going to be in Toronto, but in a year and 2 years can be there. But right now, there are people in this world that are sick, that are passing away. That's the problem there. Us not being in Toronto right now, in hindsight, is not that big of an issue. We'll be able to travel again. We'll be able to do all of this again. But people that are not surviving COVID will never have this again. And they didn't cancel nationals to be like, oh, sorry, not happening this year. The reason nationals was canceled was because it was unsafe to travel, and it was unsafe to gather, and all of that was unsafe. So they didn't do this to punish us. They did this because it was dangerous, and they had to protect the rest of the nation, the world, etc. So that's what kept us sane, was saying, we're all here having this conversation right now. At the moment, none of us are sick. None of our family members are sick. We're all going to be okay. So that right there really was the only thing that could keep the team going.
It's good that you guys put that in perspective because I can only imagine all the work that you guys put in, all the expectations. But when you put things in perspective and you think about how many people are unemployed or sick, some have lost family members, unfortunately, it's not their fault. It's something that's out of our control. So it's great that you put that in perspective and look at the positives. The fact that you can still do, you can still perform a lot of the things that you needed to do in regards to it. Now, for students thinking about extracurricular activities, what are some of the incentives? What are some of the benefits that you would advise students in regards to joining Enactus?
Okay, so in regards to joining Enactus, of course, come join us. You know, no matter what university you're at, most universities do have an Enactus chapter. I am so thankful for it. But even just stepping out of the Enactus bubble almost for a second, and just thinking about what you can do outside of school and outside of work, find something that you are passionate about and find a team that you love and that you consider a second family. Of course, yes, come join Enactus, apply. We would love to have you. But if, you know, like entrepreneurial action and the projects I mentioned doesn't like give you like little butterflies, then that's not the team for you, right? Because you should be so excited going into whatever you're doing. And there are hundreds of clubs within schools, outside of schools, in the communities that you can find. So do not feel pressured into joining a certain club because you think it will look good with your friends, look good on your resume, look good for your jobs. Join something that you are excited to go and attend every single day, something that you're excited to step up to, something that gives you a sense of belonging. For some people, that might be Enactus and that might be a business club. For other people, you might want to join a club that's solely numbers. Like if you don't like the whole entrepreneurial thing and it's something that's never sparked anything in you, there are accounting clubs, there are everything clubs. If you want to leave the whole business thing and you want to join something, a book club, you know, anything, find something that makes you happy. Go to the recruitment event, see how the team is, see how happy you feel there, and join that. So don't limit yourself to, oh, this has to look good on my resume. Limit yourself to what will genuinely make me happier and just make this experience so much better for me.
You want to find something that challenges you as well.
Yes.
Something that makes you happy, something you enjoy, and something that challenges you so you keep growing. You don't want to be complacent.
Exactly.
Mhm. Now, on to entrepreneurship. You yourself are an entrepreneur, right?
Yes, that is correct.
So why don't you tell us, why don't you tell us a bit about your company and how you got started? Have you always had an entrepreneurial spirit?
So I definitely have always been on the more entrepreneurial side of things because I have never had a job. Everything I've ever done has always been on the self-employed, self-made sector of things. As a child, like maybe I was 7 or 8. I was going to Shoppers Drug Mart, buying prepaid Visa gift cards, going to eBay, buying iPhone cases, iPhone 4 and like iPod Touch cases off eBay for like 5 cents. Get like 100 of them, 5 cents a piece, ship them to my house, made an Instagram account or like all these weird social media accounts called like buy underscore iPhone underscore cases underscore Vancouver $5. And I just meet up with them at the mall outside the Apple store, accompanied by my mother, and I would sell phone cases. I'd buy them for like 5-10 cents and I'd sell them for $5. And it made me happy. And the buyer was happy too, because $5 is still a very good price for a phone case. So it was great. So that was when I first started the whole entrepreneurial thing. I used that money to buy my Club Penguin memberships and my Webkins as a child. That's kind of when I noticed that, like, okay, I'm not going to be able to ever get a job. I'm going to have to always do something for me within myself. So just kind of took a break from work. Didn't really work much in high school until grade 10. Grade 10, I was like, oh, like, you know what? I can do social media marketing. Before I started my company, I did Instagram management for a cosmetic clinic downtown, basically posting Instagram pictures. And I was like, oh, like, this is so much fun. Like, I can post photos on Instagram and I can make money. That's how that started. So I founded Canicon Media in 2016. Was it 16, 17, whatever, 16. It was 2016. So I found Canicon Media in 2016. And it started off very small. I was literally posting Instagram pictures and I was like, I'm an entrepreneur. But in the sense I was, and I am, and you know what I mean? Like, being an entrepreneur doesn't mean you're, running $1 billion company or you just started a tech setup and sold your tech setup for $500 million. Being an entrepreneur means you create something, you're aware of all the risks of creating something and you still do it. So that's that. But anyways, so then I just grew that. I learned what digital marketing actually was. It's not posting on Instagram. It's actually marketing. So advertising, Instagram ads, Facebook ads, you know, geographic marketing, click funnels, leads, Google AdWords, all of that, website creation. Then you got into SEO, all of that stuff. So now those are the services I offer. It's been 4 years. I no longer offer posting on Instagram. I do offer social media management. That's a real thing, but I personally focus more on the digital marketing side of it than the social media management side of it. So that's that.
Awesome. I didn't know about all that. I've known you for a couple of years now. I didn't know about all that stuff you did when you were younger, buying and selling things on eBay. That's a hustler's mentality. I respect that.
Thank you. It was pretty good. Honestly, my parents wouldn't let me use their credit card on the internet because, again, this is like 2008 when the internet was like not safe. Now it's safe. You know, every single person can put their credit card. The internet's not safe. Don't believe what I just said. But the internet is safer for transactions. In 2008, it was not. They thought that if I put their credit card information onto Club Penguin, they were going to have their identity stolen and bad things are going to happen. So I had to find a way to fund my own Club Penguin memberships. So I started selling phone cases. And I had such a good Club Penguin membership life. So good.
Awesome. So what advice, if any, do you have for youth and adults or young adults thinking of starting up a side hustle or a business? Has anyone played a mentorship role for you throughout your journey? Like how?
Yeah. So for me, my mentor has always been my dad. He was the one that introduced me to my first, I'm going to post Instagram photos for you client. I do real estate with him to this day. Any question I have in regards to running a business in BC or internationally, I go to him and I'm like, please help. I'm confused. If I am doing something very wrong, he'll look at me and be like, oh my God, don't do that. Me and numbers are not friends. So when it comes to finances for a company, taxes, funding, anything else regarding numbers, me and that thing are not friends. So I run to dad and then dad's like, okay, here's my accountant. Talk to him. So my dad has been my biggest resource and my biggest mentor, and my biggest supporter for sure. I've definitely done things in business where he's been like, why are you doing that? And I've been like, no, dad, trust me. Like, trust me. Like, I'm young. I know what's happening. I was wrong. Oh God, I was so wrong. Like, I have lost a lot of money and a lot of time trying to create things that he has warned me of. But he's never fully stopped me, because if he had stopped me, I wouldn't have lost all that money and I wouldn't have lost all that time. And now I got to, I feel like I'm glitching.
Are you back?
I was glitching. Whenever you freeze, yeah, I think I'm back. Whenever you freeze, I know that I'm glitching. So I'm back now. I don't know where I lost connection, but I'll just say.
You were talking about how you lost a lot of time, you lost a lot of money not listening to him, but he never stopped you.
Yeah, so he never stopped me because he knew if he said, hey, Selin, that's bad, no good, lose money, I would have probably stopped, like if he actually like completely stopped me, but I would have never learned. And I would have made that mistake 5 years later and lost a whole lot more of money and a whole lot more time than 17, 18-year-old me did with like my little investments and my little amount of time, or my 17-year-old self time. Now I know what not to do. You know, like you actually need a business plan. Like you should probably secure funding. Like I've learned all of these things at a young age. Still lost money, still lost time, but not the same amount of time or money I would be losing now. So
it's part of the process. I actually interviewed another entrepreneur this morning, and he was telling me he's like, try things fast, fail them fast, learn from them fast. So if your dad had probably just said, no, you can't do it, you wouldn't have learned anything, right?
Exactly. I would not have learned a single thing. No, like absolutely nothing. But I want to say, in regards to advice to entrepreneurs. This is, everyone says this, like, don't listen to what anyone says. Yes, do not listen to what anyone says, but please remember that you should not, like, I don't know if I'm going to be criticized for saying this, but you should not put every single second of time and effort and money you have into one thing, because as important as it is to grow your business, like, you're on this new venture, right? You've made your business plan, you've secured funding, you're doing this. Please remember that when you have that successful startup, if you've lost friends, if you've lost family, if you've lost these relationships with people, and you've initially lost the relationship with yourself because you have not taken time for yourself, you will look at that startup that you've created. It might be a successful startup. You might have made hundreds of thousands of dollars, maybe millions of dollars off of it. But in the end, you will actually have nothing if all you have is that business, because you have lost everything else you need to genuinely be a happy person. There's a lot of left and right in that, with that comment in the entrepreneurial world. Gary Vee, personally, I really do like him. I saw him live in Las Vegas a couple years ago. I really respect him. But he really pushes, don't listen to anyone. Don't listen to your parents. Don't listen to what your friends say. It's you against the world. It's you and your business. 24/7 hustle. Yes, like, hustle 24/7. But if you are tired and you actually physically cannot work today, it is not a shame. It's not a problem to go and hang out with your friends one night. And that actually scares me. And that's why a lot of people burn out. They burn out because when they're young, when they're 17, 18, they're like, you know what, I'm putting 24/7 into this business. They do it, and then it gets hard and they keep pushing, but they push too much and they don't let themselves breathe, and then they just tank. And again, if you do want to be successful, you shouldn't be going out every single day. You cannot make your Friday and Saturday night clubs and your Sunday brunch and your Sunday hike and then your Monday to Friday hangouts with your friends and start a successful business. But if you are working every single day of the week, and then on a Friday night, your friends are like, let's go downtown, and you say yes, that does not make you an unsuccessful entrepreneur. That does not make you not a hustler. That does not make you a unsuccessful business person. All that does is make you human. And it's actually very respectable to be able to take care of yourself and your mental health, because without that, that business will not matter. And I think that it's a very contradicting stigma, again, in the entrepreneurship world right now. And I just think it's so important to remember that you matter, and the world does not exist in your startup. It exists in you. You're creating the startup. If you don't have you anymore, the startup won't happen. So just take. That's that.
It's very insightful. In relation to everything you just said, I personally feel that success is something that's subjective. It varies from person to person. So I always think, like, when I was younger, I was the same way. I never listened to my parents. It would go through one year and out the other. Now I listen to everybody. I take everything into account, but at the end of the day, I have to make my own decision because I'm the one who has to live with those decisions. Yeah. So building on what you said, that would be my advice to people watching this, young entrepreneurs out there. Now, seems like we're almost out of time here. So any last words for our viewers in relation to being a student, an entrepreneur, or generally just how to keep your head above water in an uncertain climate like the one we find ourselves in right now?
Last comments in regards to everything in general. We live in a digital age. We live surrounded by social media. Oh gosh, social media is great. It is so great for your business. My entire business is social media. If social media did not exist anymore, I would no longer have a business because everything I do is on social media. But when you are on the internet, on Instagram, on Snapchat, on Facebook, Twitter, Visco, TikTok, everything, as a consumer, it is destroying your mental health if you take everything too seriously. My friends, myself, everyone, you catch yourself, you're on Instagram, you're scrolling through people's lives, through their Instagram stories, and you're like, why is that not me? You know, you're like, I'm sitting at home, I'm working 9 hours a day, I'm studying 9 hours a day, I don't have time to eat food, I haven't left my house in a week. How is every single person I know at the beach right now? And
Hmm.
you have to remember, like, Instagram is not real. It is not real life. It is a highlight reel. I look at my own Instagram stories and I'm like, that's not my life. My Instagram stories, my Instagram highlights, you know, I got like my fall 2020, my summer 2020, spring 2019, summer 2019. I look at that and I'm like, those are the best days that I had that summer.
Hmm.
That's not my real summer. I'll look at pictures I post and I'm like, I literally cried like 20 minutes before taking that picture. Or as I'm posting it, I'm like having a complete mental breakdown because I'm having an absolutely horrible day. So just remember, scrolling through Instagram, anything you're scrolling through that is not an accurate description of those people's lives. It's possible that they are genuinely very happy people, but it is a highlight reel, and do not compare your life to social media because you will never, ever, ever be able to find happiness if you compare yourself to social media or anything in general. So
Hmm.
that is my final comment.
Yeah, we've had a few conversations about that in the past, scrolling through social media and compare. They say comparison is the thief of joy. And in a
Yeah,
world where it's so easy to do that just by opening up an app on your phone, it's really easy to cultivate feelings of inadequacy when really there's no reason for any of that. So,
exactly.
but
It's a
yeah.
killer of happiness. It really is. It really is. So just be careful. Just don't hurt yourself.
All right, Celine. So thank you so much for joining us on our show. I know you're really busy. You're one of the hardest working people I know.
Thank
So thank you so much. And yeah, see you soon.
thank you so much.